$2.5 million. Someone said it was 10 million on that side of the microphone. The other side of the, not you, the other side of the microphone. So it's not even close. It's close. It's 2.5 million. So that's for the 25-26 budget. The
Yes,
delta, the operating expenses minus the operating revenues is 2.5 million.
Yes, sir.
Okay. What is the delta for the library?
It's approximately $4 million.
Okay. What are we gonna see for those two jewels of the city in the 26-27 budget?
We are very early on the process at this point. Sorry, sir.
Yes, I was just going to say that we're taking the input from tonight and we'll build a budget, so we'll be able to report on that in the spring.
Okay. Well, once again, what I said, because of the many conversations that the city council gets to have to learn the facts from staff, from you, from Peter, from Robert, we need to somehow make sure the residents understand that the CCPA is not losing $10 million a year, and that we have other facilities, other cost centers, other jewels of the city that actually have a bigger delta than the CCPA, so that people don't raise the alarm about the CCPA and talk about it negatively in a uninformed manner, in an ignorant manner. Okay, so I don't know, what can we do to make sure people know that the CCPA is not losing? And I don't like using the word lose, because we're not a business. We're not trying to make a profit. We're trying to provide programs and services to our residents that they want. And how can we inform the residents that the CCPA is not losing $10 million a year? It's a delta of $2.5 million a year, which I think is very reasonable for all the enjoyment and fun and excitement for which is providing shows and parties and events in our city year round. And it's economic. I mean, that doesn't even take into account the sales tax revenue that we're making in this city because we have a CCPA that has shows, And for example, Ube Fest wants to be in the parking lot of the CCPA wants to be there in next to the CCPA because one sometimes there are shows going on at the same time as Ube Fest. We had sold out Elmo shows. We had the Philharmonic. We had the Philharmonic, and the people from those shows went to Ube Fest. So there was synergy, but and again, I hope people don't know this. We need to let them know it. The city is making money off of these private events, Ube Fest, because Ube Fest pays the city of Cerritos to be there. Right, city manager?
That's correct. They're
Thank
paying
you.
rental fee. Yes.
Thank you. So they pay us to be there. So we make money, and then they have their market, and they're happy because their vendors are so happy with the business they're getting, having Ube Fest in the city of Cerritos. And then all those people that come to Cerritos because of Ube Fest, hopefully it becomes more and more of a regular thing for them to come to Cerritos, whether or not Ube Fest is there. So, but when people say, why does the city of Cerritos have to have 2 Ube Fest or 3 Ube Fest? Every time they come, we make money. Residents, every time they come, they're paying us rent to be there. So we're making money. So why do people not want the city of Cerritos to make money? Do you know?
I don't know, but I know that residents have asked for quite some time now that they want 626 Market here in Cerritos. 626 Market is a pop-up markets in the San Gabriel area. They have hundreds of food vendors, and they wanted it here in Cerritos. So Ube Fest technically is something like 626 Market. Just trying to make the residents happy with what they requested.
Okay, so my motion, my direction. Okay, so first of all, Drew, thank you for providing factual information from our 25-26 budget, which is on the city website, right? It's been there for a while now, right?
Yes, sir.
So that budget's been there for a while now. So for anybody to claim that there's a $10 million, the CCPA is losing $10 million a year, it's like we have that budget on our website and it says that the delta's $2.5 million. So I'm glad that the city of Cerritos is being transparent with our budget, putting it on the website. It's searchable, right? It's searchable. And then you said the library was what? About?
Off the top of my head, sir, I recall about $4 million.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead, sorry.
My direction is that I want a budget that is a balanced budget. You guys got to figure it out. That's my motion. My motion is I want a balanced budget. I want staff to do the best they can and bring back a balanced budget or a detailed explanation on how they did the best they could to bring us to attempt to bring us a balanced budget.
Second, yes.
Can I ask one question?
But we're going to vote on my motion first.
Okay.
Okay, so let's vote on it. It was seconded by Linda. It was seconded by Linda. Let's vote.
Passes 5-0.
Okay, Sophia.
I just have a question about Ube Fest. I thought we allocated $7,500 the last time. So
Okay,
if
so
you
what we're talking about is the Ube Fest markets that was in the parking lot of the
night market.
It was in the parking lot of the right next to the CCPA in September for a weekend. It was in the parking lot next to the CCPA in October for two nights, and then it was in the parking lot of the CCPA just this past Sunday.
And that brings revenue.
Every time they're there, the Ube Fest business pays us rent to be there.
Okay.
What we're having, and thank you for asking the question because people don't understand, the city of Cerritos is having a Ube Fest festival. The city of Cerritos is having this event in the spring. That's the event that we're doing.
Okay, thank you for clarification.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I do have, like I just mentioned, 2 motions at the council to support, if possible. I would like to request the staff conduct a feasibility study on establishing in adult daycare program in the city of Cerritos for the 2026 to 2027 preliminary budget, if we can.
Second.
Thank you.
Oh, were you done with your motion?
Please evaluate potential need, cost, location, funding, resource, and operational models, and report back to a recommendation. So I have.
My apologies. Second.
Is it a daycare for toddlers or a daycare for seniors?
Adult, senior.
Did you say toddlers or seniors?
Senior. Adult
it's a
daycare
daycare
center.
for seniors.
Adult daycare center, yeah.
It's an adult daycare center.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm
If
glad.
I could provide a friendly amendment to your motion.
Sure.
The report should include an explanation of what the adult daycare center would provide.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I also have a question. I think there will be a lot of regulations, we also have to put into considerations as well.
That I know because I almost backing up when Daniel Wang was the mayor at that time. I think this is a good program for us since we're going to have a senior service commission here.
Yeah, and you said what I was about to say. We're about to, in this meeting, we're about to have an agenda item about establishing a senior services commission. But you're gonna, at the council level, start the process of considering a senior citizen daycare.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
The motion passes 5-0.
My second motion, I would like to request that staff conduct a study on the feasibility on establishing of emergency membership program, also known as ambulance subscription program, for the upcoming 2026 to 2027 preliminary budget. This program is needed for a resident. One way we asked the resident pay their own water bill, but on the other hand, I think under our strategic plan number 8, community program, I think this is part of the, we also need to look into it if we can. This program is needed for our residents. And I ask the staff evaluate the potential need, project cost, possible administrative model, funding sources, and partnership options. Please report back with the funding and recommendations.
Second.
Thank you.
The motion passes 4-0 with one abstention.
Okay, so I'm going to remind my council colleagues what's important to me is a balanced budget. Okay, so I'm open to having staff look into these ideas that are different from our status quo. And I'm willing to look, I'm willing to explore it with you guys and look at the agenda reports or memos that are going to come back from the city manager. But we don't have money to spend. We are budget constrained. Our general fund is hemorrhaging money every year, including this fiscal year. And we just approved a budget a couple months ago. We approved a budget in June that had a $407,000 budget deficit. So I want to approve a balanced budget. So it's going to be I'm going to have to be convinced that the residents want something for me to approve an additional expense in our budget, a new expense in our budget. So I make a motion that we give the city council gives direction to take a look at the pine tree reforestation policy to consider for the 26-27 fiscal year how much it would cost to continue the pine tree reforestation policy under the status quo, and how much it would cost if we only did pine trees that are dead, diseased, or dying, or causing damage. Okay? That's my motion.
Second.
Because while I'm very happy with the pine tree reforestation policy that I think we approved in 2020, Councilmember Polito, we are budget constrained and we can't, maybe we need to consider not incurring the costs of removing pine trees that are not dead or diseased or dying. Okay, any other direction to give to the city? Oh, did you second it?
I did.
Okay, let's vote.
The motion passes 5-0.
Any other motions? Okay, let's move on to item 9B, Water Lantern Festival. City Manager, do we have a report on this item?
Yes, Mayor, this item follows up on prior council direction regarding, to provide information regarding a potential new event. A brief presentation on this item will be given by Director of Community and Cultural Services, Annie Hilton.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. The City Council directed staff on March 3rd to bring back a report on presenting a festival that would feature cultural performances, city merchandise and informational booths, food trucks, and a lantern-making craft. Included in the report that was presented is an analysis of the possible locations for the event, and after careful review, staff recommends that the Water Lantern Festival be held at Heritage Park. It is respectfully recommended that the City Council review and discuss the information provided in the report and approve and authorize the City Manager to plan and implement a Water Lantern Festival to be held on March 3rd, 2026 at Heritage Park. This concludes my report, and at this time, City Manager Robert Lopez and Recreation Services Superintendent Samir Patel and I would be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Annie and Samir, for this agenda report. Do we have any questions from the council? Okay, I will now open for public comment. Are there any speakers on this item? I don't see any. City Clerk, please announce for the record the written comments received for this item.
Thank you, Mayor. Prior to the meeting, the City Council received full text unredacted copies of one written comment submitted for this item by the deadline. Requests for copies of the written comments can be made to the City Clerk during regular business hours.
And that written comment is from Sue Carter. Dear council members, I am happy to read you are considering an annual Water Lantern Festival. In my opinion, Heritage Park is the best location. However, only if the bird excrement can be cleaned up. I would be so happy to have the wildlife relocated, but at last, that's another letter. The Heritage Park location offers a possibility of additional parking at Cerritos High School. The design plan of the park, its size, the unique water feature, the rustic buildings, and the stage area create an ambiance of beauty and community. On the other hand, the parking at Don Kanabe is limited, and to be blunt, it looks like every other county park. It appears the cost will be greater at Kanabe. Trust me, this is not the time to spend more money than necessary. I'm sure you can read between the lines. Sue Carter, thank you for that public comment. I will close the public comment period. Does the council have any additional questions or comments? Okay, Mayor Pro Tem Linda.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm pleased that we're moving forward with this event to celebrate a true water lantern festival, one in which the tradition is to release paper lanterns onto water. It symbolizes peace, cleansing, and carrying wishes forward. The previous event, the Autumn Moon Festival, is traditionally celebrated with viewing the full moon, eating moon cakes, and displaying a lantern, and not typically floated on water. So this Water Lantern Festival will have added features such as cultural performances by our youth. I know that Kanabe Park has a much bigger body of water for a Water Lantern Festival, but I can also see how we want to utilize our own Heritage Park so that residents can participate and enjoy at one of our own city-owned facilities. I also know that we're trying to attract sponsors to help defray costs for this event. I myself have secured 3 sponsors already. I'd like staff to develop a mini sponsor deck, just a one-pager, one with deliverables, so that the city can attract sponsors for the Water Lantern Festival. Sponsors like to know what they are getting for their donation, whether it's a logo on a flyer or banner or an announcement on stage. So I'm ready to make a motion when it's appropriate.
Mayor.
Yes, go
Can I say
ahead,
something?
Councilmember Say.
You know, I really like this Water Lantern night. Actually, talking about encourage, reflection, and hope. Writing a message or wishes on lanterns, whether for loved ones, goals, or healing, gives people a moment to pause, reflect, and look forward. To me, this is emotional, meaningful for many, many families. I like to support that too.
Thank you, Councilmember Say. Was this in the 25-26 budget that we approved in June?
This was not incorporated in the budget. However, we do have funding available within the Recreation Services programming budget. Samir has budgeted extremely carefully for some of the events that we've held throughout the year. So he has identified some funding that remains that was unexpended from activities such as the Halloween Festival.
That was not spent in recreation services programs of the 25-26 fiscal year.
Yes, that is correct.
Wonderful.
Okay, and are we going to get rid of all that excrement? Robert? This is not the first time residents have not liked that.
Yes, and I can defer to our Public Works team for additional details if you'd like, but our Public Works staff daily cleans the area around the park. But it's a natural phenomenon with the uncontrollable wildlife that do come in and make a mess. So, but our staff, it does go daily to clean, and then it just keeps coming back, unfortunately. But prior to an event, they'll do an additional sweep.
Okay, did you heard that, Alvin? You have to go there and do another sweep. Okay. Okay, and then also, it's my understanding that work will start, the capital improvement project at Heritage Park will be starting in March. You promised us, you told us that the work will start in March. Give us an update on that work, that $1 million plus project that this council gave you direction to do because we are complying with Los Angeles County's rules.
Yeah, I'll begin by stating that in that furtherance of that compliance with the county rules, we do have some administrative items we're taking care of. We do have an item we're taking into the council or to the planning commission at a meeting in January related to the property to get it ready, related to lot lines, et cetera. And then I'll defer to Mr. Papa, who, if he has an update regarding the construction portion of that.
Yes, as part of delivering the project, we need to get approval from the Regional Park Open Space District with regards to the project. We have not received that approval yet. They are requiring that a grant deed restriction be recorded on the subject property before the project is
Pamela,
approved.
can you take care of that?
Yes, and we will be coming to the council for the lot line adjustment.
Okay, so that's done.
Yes, however, for them to review and approve the application, they require that all the documents be submitted as part of the application. We've asked if they would agree to allow us to submit the application and get approval, knowing that we're going through the process. However, we have not been successful in those discussions.
So what are you going to do about that, Robert? And you got to work with Pam. You have to keep her in the loop on this, so we're not getting any more delays. And regardless of what I'm hearing, you told this council that work would start in March. Okay, and we did not get an update, and the only reason I'm getting an update now is because I asked.
We're making every effort to begin work as early as possible.
Okay, I need the work to start in March. Is that impossible?
Based on the update Mr. Papa provided on the LA County approval, I don't know if that's possible, but we'll report back with an estimate on the time.
Yeah, I'm not happy if it doesn't start in March. because you promised this council it would start in March, and now we're finding out because of this agenda item about the Water Lantern Festival that it might not start in March. Okay, go ahead, Linda, make your motion.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that we adopt option 2 of the staff recommendation. And I'd also like to include that staff produce a sponsor deck for this event so that I may
Second by
secure
Sophie.
more sponsors.
Second.
Second.
Did you hear who made the second? City clerk or city attorney?
I heard Councilmember say.
Okay, let's make the vote.
The motion passes 5-0.
Okay, council colleagues, I ask for consensus to postpone item 9C.
Yes.
Cons-
Okay, let's
Concur.
postpone item
Concur.
9C. Let's go to item 9D. And, well, city manager, can you please explain to the city council what your proposal is regarding item 9D, 9E, and 9F?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'd like to request that items 9D, E, and F be heard concurrently. And I can provide a brief presentation.
I ask for consensus that we allow the
Concur.
city manager to proceed with his presentation of 9D, 9E, and 9F concurrently. We have consensus. Let's go.
Thank you. Items 9D, E, and F relate to action that was taken at the November meeting with the adoption of a guidebook for elected and appointed officials. They implement direction that was given. Item 9D establishes a new Senior Services Commission by way of adoption of ordinance and resolution. Item 9E dissolves the Let Freedom Ring Committee and establishes the City Celebrations Committee through the adoption of an ordinance and resolution. And then item 9F codifies into the municipal code the Community Safety Committee, which although no action was taken by council, it would provide consistency among the various commissions and committees. And with that, I'd like to briefly turn over to City Clerk Cindy Nava for additional recommendation.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council, specifically upon City Council approval of these items, amendments will be made to the newly adopted City of Cerritos Guidebook for elected and appointed officials in Chapter 2, List and Duties of Commissions and Committees, and Chapter 4, Code of Conduct, including omission of information related to the Let Freedom Ring Committee, inclusion of information related to the City Celebrations Committee and the Senior Services Commission. We additionally request City Council approval of an amendment to Chapter 2 related to the requirement for future advisory board members to complete a civic leadership academy, such as Lead Cerritos, within 1 year of appointments. Staff recognizes a potential need for flexibility here and request to extend this program completion requirement to be within 18 months of appointment. This concludes the recommended guidebook amendments related to these agenda reports.
Do we have any? Oh. City clerk, you gave that report.
And ID. Just a
Yeah,
D.
the ENF. She gave the report. Even though the agenda report was initiated by Kristen Aguila, the agenda reports were initiated by Kristen Aguila, Annie Hilton, Samir Patel, and Ryan Carey. Thank you for initiating those reports, and thank you, Cindy Nava, for giving the report. Okay. Any questions from the council?
No.
Oh, I will now open for public comment. Do we have a report on this? Oh, no. Yeah, I will now open for public comment. I don't see any public comment. Seeing none, I will close the public comment period. Does the council have any additional questions or comments? Okay, please remind me, City Clerk, are the members of the Let Freedom Ring Committee, the current members of the Let Freedom Ring Committee, going to automatically become members of the City Celebrations Committee, or is the City Council have to go through an appointment process?
Thank you for your question. That is correct. The if the recommendation is approved, then the Let Freedom Ring Committee members would automatically be appointed to the City Celebrations Committee.
Okay, thank you. So any other questions or comments? Okay, do I have a motion?
I have motion.
Second.
Okay, it was moved.
My motion is to approve staff recommendations on items 9D, E, and F.
Second.
Okay. It was moved by Linda and seconded by Jennifer to approve the recommendations. The staff recommendation for 9D, 9E, 9F. Let's vote.
Motion passes 5-0.
D, E, F. Item 9G. City Manager, do we have a report on this item?
Yes, thank you. This comes at the request of 2 members of the City Council related to possible charter amendments. I'm going to defer to City Clerk Cindy Nava for the overview.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council. If you would please direct your attention to the screen. The item before you is review and consideration of a report requested by the Mayor and Mayor Pro Tem, providing information related to the feasibility of calling a special municipal election consolidated with the Tuesday, June 2nd, 2026 statewide primary election to propose by way of ballot measure one or more questions related to city charter amendments to Cerritos voters. The potential charter amendment ballot measure or measures presented for discussion this evening relate to 3 different items. The first is the change of the city's general municipal election date to November of even-numbered years aligned with the statewide general election and other related conforming amendments. Second is city council term limits. And third is the authority to appoint the city treasurer. If the city council desires to place a ballot measure or measures on the Tuesday, June 2nd, 2026 statewide primary election, ordering consolidation with this election due to legal and administrative deadlines, city staff requests direction from the city council to prepare resolutions for city council review and consideration no later than at the Monday, January 12, 2026 city council regular meeting. Over the last 2 elections, Cerritos voters approved charter amendment ballot measures H, J, and K. Measure H amended city council term limits commencing in 2022. City council members are now limited to serving 2 4-year terms over a lifetime. An excerpt from City Charter Section 400 is displayed on the screen. It has been noted this wording may warrant revision. Additionally, the City Council may want to consider other revisions, including the total number of terms of service allowed and or whether to change the lifetime limitation and or potentially reinstitute a specified cooling off period. Earlier this year, Measure J established the city's general municipal election date, or GME, in the city's charter, requiring voter approval for any future change to the city's GME date. After the next GME, City Council terms will commence on the 2nd Wednesday of April, following certification of election results. Additionally, Measure J set the annual mayoral transition date as the 2nd Wednesday of April, beginning in 2026, as council term commencement and mayoral transitions relate to the installation of new and or re-elected council members. These details
On
would
that
be
PowerPoint,
included.
it's supposed to be the 2nd Wednesday of April, right?
Wednesday, yes.
Not Tuesday, right? It's supposed to be Wednesday.
Thank you.
Like you said it, but
Yes.
the PowerPoint is wrong.
Thank you for pointing that out. Yes, it should be the 2nd Wednesday of April. And these details would be included in any potential charter amendment related to the city's general municipal election date. Also, earlier this year, Measure K.
And it also should be council terms begin 2nd Wednesday. Both of those are supposed to be
Yes,
2nd
both of
Wednesday.
those should be 2nd Wednesday. Thank you.
That's the current charter.
That's the current charter as adopted in March 2025. Also, earlier this year, Measure K was approved by Cerritos voters, which corrected grammatical and spelling errors and updated the charter to reflect modern business practices, including a provision for city charter authority to appoint the city treasurer. Should a charter amendment ballot measure relate to the city's GME be included in consolidation with the June 2nd, 2026 statewide primary election ballot and adopted by Cerritos voters, the next GME would be held on Tuesday, November 3rd, 2026, consolidated with the statewide general election. It is important to note that a change to the city's GME to a November of even-numbered year election cycle would decrease the terms of all current city council members by approximately 4 months. As there is no election scheduled during fiscal year 2025-26, the current budget allocation for election expenses is $50,000. Should the City Council wish to call a special election in June 2026, this would necessitate a budget amendment in this fiscal year of $200,000 to cover the estimated costs of this election. At this time, it is recommended the City Council review and discuss the information provided in this report and the specific charter amendment topics presented and receive public comment. If the City Council desires, direct staff to present an agenda report and resolutions necessary to call a special election ordering consolidation with the LA County-run statewide primary election on June 2nd, 2026, adding one or more proposed charter amendment ballot measures to the ballot no later than at the Monday, January 12, 2026 City Council regular meeting, or provide alternate direction to staff. This concludes the report, and the City Manager, City Attorney, and I are available to answer any questions the City Council may have.
Is that recommendation of no later than January 12, 2026 a legal deadline or a request from staff?
Thank you, Mayor. That is a request from staff. That is an administrative deadline. The legal deadline officially is March 6th. However, that's the same date that the resolutions are due to the county, and there are several.
What date are the resolutions due to the county?
March 6th.
So we have 2 meetings in January and 2 meetings in February of the Cerritos City Council, right?
Yes.
And the deadline for you to submit the paperwork to have a June 2, 2026 ballot measure is March 6.
Yes, that's the absolute final deadline.
So no later than January 12, 2026 is a request from the city clerk. So you have time to work on it with your hardworking staff.
Yes.
Okay. Any questions from the Cindy Nava, thank you for this agenda report. Okay, and thank you for presenting it to the City Council. These are matters of importance, including matters of importance to democracy. Do we have any comments from the council? Councilmember Hong, do you have any questions?
Yes, I just want to verify a few things. First of all, you're talking about for special election is cost how much for the city to have a special election on the odd year? I remember it was $100,000. I mean, you were just reporting is about $200,000.
Approximately, the estimate currently is about $250,000, maybe just over that. With the inclusion of the county's estimate to us is approximately $225,000, but that's not inclusive of legal notices that we would need to publish and translation of those notices, and it does not include any voter outreach efforts.
Thank you.
Councilmember Say, any questions?
Wait, this is a tough one. I do have a lot of questions actually regarding the changes. My microphone's not facing me. First of all, we'll just talk about budget transparency. Can you confirm whether the cost of holding a municipal election in March versus November or June is a significant difference based on the prior elections? Is there a meaningful cost saving if we move to November or June?
Thank you for your question. The answer to that is that comparing one election to another is like comparing apples and oranges, and it truly depends on the conduct of the election. We could conduct a standalone election in a way that would be similar in cost to a consolidated election. However, that would be, not providing as many voter outreach services and open polling locations and several different factors. Also, some of those are out of our control, such as number of registered voters, and the cost really depends on how many candidates we have and how many ballot measures. So it can be difficult to compare, and it depends.
My second question is based on election management control. If Cerritos moved the election to November or June, will we lose any local control over ballot again design, like precinct operation and timing? Because the county usually runs consolidated ballot. Am I right?
The ballots, the design is mandated by state law, truly. So our ballots are formatted similarly to the counties, based on what is required by the law.
Yeah, because I know there's many cities has a concern about this matter. I know you talk about community alignment with the measure G and K. Can staff explain how local issues candidates might be impacted by being placed on longer November ballot with federal, state, and county races? Because I remember they gets report back almost a month versus city will get right away within a week.
We potentially could report back. We could potentially certify election results sooner if conducting our own election. The county has to tabulate they have to tabulate ballots for the entire county. So it does take them a bit longer. So that is one impact. Regarding the ballot order, after the passing of Senate Bill 25, which required the state to list local contest at the top of the ballot for a period of 3 years, the LA County Registrar of Voters decided to continue that program because they did see an increase in 16% of voter participation, having local contests featured at the top of the ballot.
Okay. Well, you're so knowledgeable. My last question, can you provide the data? Because I always believe the evidence, comparing the voter turnout and engagement for Cerritos standalone March elections versus a consolidated election in November in nearby cities.
In nearby cities, well, what I can say is that historically, any consolidated election, you will see increased voter turnout. If it's aligned with a presidential election, of course, we see 80% voter turnout during a presidential election. We see about 50 during a primary. And then the city's standalone elections see approximately about 24% turnout. So I cannot provide concrete results for nearby cities, but that is a historical trend.
I think I'll stop right here, Mayor. Yeah.
Councilmember Polito, any questions?
Do we vote one by one or because you have?
It's how people make the motions.
Oh, okay, got you. Because we do have like unlimited turn limits.
Do you have any?
Issues on the
Do
table.
you have any
So
other
I'm just
questions?
asking how we're going to vote it right there.
Okay. City manager, city attorney, you want to answer her question?
Right, because there are multiple items being discussed tonight, it does depend on the motion. And so my recommendation is to do individual motions depending on what you'd like to do.
Got it. Thank you.
Or not? Okay. Councilmember Polito? Councilmember, Mayor Pro Tem Linda Johnson, do you have any questions?
Yes, I have a question for the city attorney. In our current charter regarding city council term limits, is it flawed or does it have loopholes?
With respect to term limits, the current way that the charter reads in Section 400, that no city council member shall serve more than 2 lifetime or 2 4-year complete terms for a lifetime. That wording specifically says they have to have served 2 complete 4-year terms, which basically is interpreted to mean that if you do not complete 4-year term, then that does not count towards the lifetime term limit. This came up back in 2022 in another city in Orange County, which is very prominent, where the elected official actually resigned several weeks before the term was up in order to run again. And that was his specific reason for resigning early. so that he wouldn't meet the term requirement and he could run and bypass the term limit. You can look that up. That was in 2022, and I'm not going to say the city, but it's
And
fairly
that council
common.
member was reelected,
So that's what had occurred.
correct? He was,
So-
that council member was reelected, correct?
I believe he was. But so I do believe that if it's the will of the people to have voted upon a term limit of whatever it is here that's stated, then it should be cleaned up in some way, shape, or form.
And just to be clear, in 2022, you did not write that ballot measure?
No, I was
You were
not here.
employed here yet as the city attorney. So this is completely flawed. Thank you.
Would you have written it this way, or would you have written something completely different?
I would have clarified the language.
Did you see the term limit provision that was recently passed in La Palma?
I had previously glanced at it before, but to my not lately.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yes, Mayor. I
Okay,
do have.
okay, Councilmember Hong.
Okay, so on here, the background on the first paragraph, line 4, it says Cerritos City Charter Amendment ballot measure to be, or measures to be to the Tuesday, June 2nd, 2026, statewide primary election. So if we do this amendment, so then the voters can vote it on June 2nd. And then when is this gonna affect it or started for concerning about our council's terms, like, the current councils, and maybe even for the newly elected 3 of us from this year's, because that way I think we were gonna cut back a couple months short. So what you were just saying, if we didn't fulfill 4 years, that means 3 of us not doing the 1 term because we're not even 4 years. Am I right or wrong? Please correct me.
If you do change the charter to change the election date from March to, say, November of even numbered years, and you have that start as early as November of 2026, you will have, in essence, cut your term. It will be 4 months short of 4-year term limit. So basically, if you don't change this charter, technically that wouldn't necessarily complete the 4-year term, but you would have cut your term to a number less than 4. So it depends on how it's interpreted and who may want to challenge this specific provision in the charter.
So it would take the challenge to, people to challenge it, because you were just saying that there are other council at the other city. Doesn't mean I'm going to do that, but I'm just saying, you say there are people intentionally resign or, before the 4-year terms in order to rerun, that's what my concern about.
Correct.
Any other questions from the council? Okay, I'm going to open it up for public comment on this item. Are there any speakers on this item? I don't see any speakers for this item. City Clerk, please announce for the record the written comments received for this item.
Thank you, Mayor. Prior to the meeting, the City Council received full text unredacted copies of the 1 written comment submitted by the deadline for this item. Requests for copies of the written comments can be made to the City Clerk during regular business hours.
So that written comment that was submitted to the Cerritos City Council is from Catherine Pasquale. Potential city charter amendments. In reading the data in the agenda report, I think it is clear that a charter amendment is needed. The city of Cerritos needs to move the election date to have consolidated elections. When we had our election consolidated with the California and presidential primary election, we had over 50% voter turnout. In standalone elections, turnout has been 25% or less. My preference is to move the election date to November of even years and consolidate it with general elections, where we will have the highest voter turnout. The best thing we can do to have a process that is true to representative democracy is to have more residents vote for our leaders. We have the data and we know how to achieve this. We move our election date. In addition, this will save our city over $100,000 every election, since we won't have to run our own standalone election. I previously was supportive of the 2-term limit placed on our council members. However, I have since learned more about how local governments work in conjunction with other agencies, and I have changed my mind. The council members sit on different bodies within the region and state, and for them to be there long enough to rise to leadership positions, they need more years in office available to them to rise. Having our city council members rise to leadership is good for our city. We have seen other local cities around us extend or eliminate their term limits as they too came to this realization. Additionally, the government moves slowly, and it takes time to see plans through to their completion. We would all prefer the government to move more quickly, but sometimes larger projects take a long time. For these reasons, I am in favor of extending or eliminating the term limit. Thank you, Catherine Pasquale. I will close the public comment period. Does the council have any additional questions or comments? Councilmember Hong?
Yes, because I want to know a little bit about the history. Didn't we just do this and then pass in 2023, right? Am I correct on the majors about the odd number election and 2 terms? Those are the majors that was at the 2022 election?
Thank you, Councilmember Hong. The council term limit measure was passed in 2022, and the general municipal election date was passed this past March 2025.
Thank you.
Councilmember Say, do you have any questions or comments?
Thank you, Mayor. As a resident 42 years, a March election has served this community well to me. It ensures that our local issues remain the focus and our residents are not drowned out by state and federal campaigns. When local elections are placed on November ballot, city matters receive significantly less visibility and voter attention. Cerrito deserves a dedicated election where our residents can thoughtfully consider the future of our city. Furthermore, changing our election day after voter approved measure J require voters' consent for changes would disregard the clear message our community has already sent. Cerrito's value is independent election cycle. So for this reason, I support maintaining March as our municipal election date. And I believe this best preserves local control, transparency, and strong civic engagement. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilmember Polito? Mayor Pro Tem Johnson?
Yes, I have several comments. First, I wanted to address our current standalone election. Our current standalone election is basically voter suppression. By establishing municipal elections to be held on odd-numbered years, does not encourage voter turnout. We know that there is higher voter turnout in an election that is held in November of even-numbered years. And a former council member that was on this previous council said in a council meeting the reason why he wanted an election on an odd-numbered year was, or not so much that, I'm sorry, a standalone election was because he wanted faster results. That's not a reason to have a standalone election. So I feel that we need to move our elections, restore democracy back into our elections by consolidating with our municipal elections with Los Angeles County and moving it to an even numbered year where we get higher voter turnout and a cost savings. I'll say something about Measure K, about the city treasurer. That too is flawed in the biggest way. Shifting the authority to appoint the city treasurer to the city manager is a loss of independent financial oversight, which can create structural risks for accountability and public trust. It can affect the city's treasurer's ability to independently challenge, review, or question financial decisions. So please note, I'm not making any statements about our current city manager or our finance manager, but this is just good practice moving forward. It can create a conflict of interest, reduce transparency, weaker checks and balances, and declining public trust. We need to restore their city treasurer as a charter employee and one that is appointed by the council. We currently have a finance manager that is the city treasurer, and he would remain in that position upon passage, should it pass by the voters. And last, Measure H, also flawed, as explained by the city attorney. There are loopholes, and that actually gives some of us, including me, an advantage. Some of us are serving 5-year terms. Therefore, Measure H does not apply to us. I believe that term limits are determined at the ballot boxes. Voters should have the ultimate authority to decide who represents them. It gives residents the freedom to re-elect representatives for as long as they believe in their ability to serve. Term limits do not guarantee good government, but voters do. It empowers residents to choose the best leaders and supports continuity on projects. In fact, of the 27 cities surrounding us, over half, 16 of them, have no term limits. Those are the very cities that are thriving and prospering because of the institutional knowledge that those council members have and the experiences that they have gained in creating policy. Those are my comments.
Okay, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Johnson. So, I'll answer, first of all, I'll answer the question asked by one of the council members. The question asked by one of the council members, what's the difference in the costs between a City of Cerritos general municipal election that's a consolidated election or a standalone election? And we can make it apples to apples, because if you say everything is the same, the number of candidates and the same, the number of candidates, it's the same number of ballot measures, the same number of registered voters, you can have some similarities between the two elections. So it's reasonable to, based on experience and past elections, to be able to make a good estimate of the savings. And this city council has considered this matter in an agenda report prepared by City Manager Art Gallucci and City Attorney Bill Erkey and City Clerk Vita Barone. They explained for the financial implications regarding a consolidated election and a standalone election. For a standalone election that requires the city to directly administer all aspects of the proceeding, which is what we're doing right now, having a standalone March odd-year election, the conclusion was the supplemental expense is currently estimated at $100,000. Okay? And we know that over time expenses go up. We just saw that with our budget preparation report. Our expenses are going up every year, a significant amount. So Vida, our friends Vida, Bill, and Art informed the council that a standalone election has an additional expense of $100,000. So every time we are having a March odd year standalone election, we are wasting over $100,000 plus of our Cerritos residents' taxpayer dollars out of our general fund. And I, as a council member elected by the residents to make the best decisions for them and to be fiscally responsible and fiscally prudent with their money, if I can save over $100,000 per election for my residents, I better give them a good reason why I'm going to throw that $100,000 away. And that's not even the most important reason to move the election to a consolidated election. Because, again, we just have to look at the facts. We just have to look at our own. We don't have to look at other cities. We just have to look at our own City of Cerritos elections, our own City of Cerritos general municipal election. And we just had a standalone election where council members Hong, Polito, and Say were just elected in March 4 of 2025, and the voter turnout was 23.81%. Okay, the voter turnout was 23.81%. You guys were elected by less than 1 in 4 of the registered voters. That means, conversely, over 3 out of 4 registered voters didn't vote for you guys. Didn't vote in the election. They didn't vote in the election. And it's because of, it's a standalone election where the only thing the only thing they were voting on was a city issue. And it was also because of voter fatigue, because they voted before that in a special election for state senate, right, Cindy? They voted in a special election for state senate just a week before, right? It was a week before, right?
It was.
And
April 26th.
so the combination of voter fatigue, confusion, a standalone election, maybe they were upset that we wasted $100,000 of their money and they were protesting, but less than 1 in 4 registered voters of the City of Cerritos voted in our election. But the last time we had a consolidated election, March 3, 2020, voter turnout was over 45%. So over 20% more voters voted in the consolidated election that we had here in the City of Cerritos on March 3, 2020. Nearly double, I heard Mr. Polito state as I'm sitting next to him. Nearly double the number of voters voted in the consolidated election. And that's what representative democracy is about. That's what democracy is about. Having the American constitutional right to vote in action here in our City of Cerritos. And that's the spirit of SB 415, which requires general law cities to consolidate their election. The only reason we don't have to do it is because we're a charter city. And I'll get to that. But our state legislators recognized the importance of representative democracy and American constitutional right to vote. That's why they require general law cities and other municipal agents, other local agencies like school districts and colleges to consolidate their elections because they agree that it's very important. There is a societal value, a democratic value in having your voters vote. And it's priceless. You can't put a dollar value on it. It's priceless to know that as many residents as possible elected their leaders. So voter turnout is significant if we consolidate our election. Plus, we can save 6 figures if we consolidate our elections. And the voters never voted on this. I think there was a comment about the voters voted on this. The voters have never voted on this. 3 council members voted on this. 3 council members hypocritically, Bruce Barrows, Naresh Solanki, and Chong Vo, hypocritically and selfishly moved the election from even years to odd years. And the result was it gave them an extra year on the council. 3 council members voted to do that. 3, because not 5, because Linda and I voted no. Linda and I didn't want to move the election. Okay? So those 3 council members back in 2023, right, Cindy? They voted to move the election from even years, April of even years to March of odd years. And that gave the city council an extra year in the council, and they got an extra year of paychecks and health benefits and life insurance. And then after their extra year ended, they quit and walked away and left the residents and left City Hall and left City Council. And the 5 of us are here working together to do the right thing and the best thing for the residents and for the city. But it's so hypocritical because the 3 of them voted to move the election, and then they put a ballot measure on the March 4, 2025 ballot to say the city council cannot move the election, only the residents can. So we are now in a situation where the city council cannot move the election. It's by a vote of the voters. Understand that, Sophia? The voters never moved the election. Those 3 moved it, and then they hypocritically, after they voted to move it, they hypocritically said the council shouldn't be able to move it. So they did what they said a future city council shouldn't be able to do. And that's called hypocrisy. Okay, so what we are voting to do, we're not voting to move the election. We're voting to put it on the ballot and to let the residents decide if they want to have an election, consolidated election in November of even years. That's going to save them over $100,000 per election. Plus, it's going to increase voter turnout by over 20%. Because that's what the facts say. Because that is what happens in Cerritos based on our recent elections over the last 5 years. That we have a significantly higher voter turnout, almost double, when it's consolidated in an even year. And I believe that if we consolidate it with the November general election, the voter turnout's going to be even higher compared to the primary. So then also, I'll just point out the facts, which is over 3/4 of our neighboring city, out of 27 cities, the city staff did a survey of 27 neighboring cities here in 27 California gateway cities, 27 cities here in Southeast Los Angeles County. And out of those 27 cities, over 3/4 of them, over 75% of them, have either no term limit or a longer term limit than we do. Okay? Over half of them have no term limit because that's what the best practice is. That is the best practice because these cities have figured out, over half of them have figured out, at the local level, a term limit hurts their city. So, and then 6 more said you should have at least 3 terms. And 7 of them say you have a term limit, but you can take a break and come back. I mean, 2 of them say that. 2 of them say you have a term limit, but you could take a break and come back. So you can potentially have multiple term limits, 3, 4, 5, 6 term limits. So I agree that the term limit should be the voters. The voters should, just like we should let the voters decide if they want to have a consolidated election, we should let the voters decide who they want to be their city council member. If they want a person to be a city council member, they vote for them. If they don't want that person, they vote for somebody else. That's democracy. That's representative democracy. That's democracy. Let the voters decide. Let the voters vote. Let the voters vote for who they want to represent them. And then lastly, we need to have fiscal independence. In theory, in principle, we should have charter employees that are responsible for their job and they are not beholden to another charter employee. They're not beholden to a boss. Their boss should be the residents. And the residents elect the city council to represent the residents. So for years and years and years, we had 4 charter employees. We had the city manager, the city attorney, the city clerk, and the city treasurer. We had 4 charter employees for years. And we all hear about in civics class the importance of separation of powers. And we're witnessing that today in the tumult of our own federal government. There should be separation of powers to protect the citizens, protect the residents. And a reason why it's important to have separation of powers for the city treasurer is for fiscal independence, fiscal transparency, fiscal accountability. The city treasurer should not be concerned about the power of hiring and firing by the city manager. And for whatever reason, without discussion, without bringing attention to it, in a charter, in a ballot measure that was labeled comprehensive charter cleanup, there was a significant substantive change. It was not cleanup. It was slipped in there that the longstanding practice of having a city treasurer appointed by the city council, it was that independence from the other charter employees was taken away from the city council, and now that person is just one more employee hired by the city manager. And the perception of that. Sometimes people say perception is reality. Our residents need to know that the city treasurer is going to be accountable to the residents and make sure that their money is accounted for, is transparent, is protected. There's a separation of power. And, you know, the corruption that happens in the city, our neighboring cities that we hear about, like the city of Bell, we are protecting our residents, our citizens from that type of corruption because we have independent charter employees, separation of powers, and just like the city attorney and the city clerk and the city manager are accountable to the residents of Cerritos through the city council, the city treasurer, that accountability should be returned because there was no good reason that was taken away in the first place. So, any other questions or comments from the council? Councilmember Hong.
Yes. So right now, who's doing the duty as a city treasurer? May I ask?
The city treasurer is the city's finance manager.
So the city finance manager is doing both work. I mean, it's same people doing the same job.
Yeah,
Okay.
the duties of the city treasurer outlined in the charter are those that match the description of the city's finance and budget manager.
Okay, thank you. And I also, just personally, I like the, because what Mayor was just talking about, all this, we're still going to put on the primary election, the ballots on the primary, statewide primary election for the voters to make the decisions of the election years. And also, as far as the term limit, I personally like 2 years, 2 terms, 2 years terms, because I was just thinking it would be good for other people, some young people or people who have passion to serve the city, have the chance to come out and serve the city, because I know every election incumbent is always have the greatest advantage. And so, I personally prefer 2 years term limit. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah. Well,
Comments?
Recently after I got elected as a council member, 8 years is a very short time to obtain leadership at the regional level. This is what I see we go out. And Cerritos needs a seat at the table, and additional years on the city council can ensure that city of Cerritos remains a regional leader. And I 2-year term to me is a little shorter, but again, unlimited term is too long. So I would like to ask for a consensus, move to 4-term cap instead. So request a consensus to direct the staff to to return with optional for a charter amendment reflecting for 4-term maximums, which means 4 terms in 4 years. I mean, each term to 4 years, 16 years. Yeah, that really gives us our council people have more chance to really sit on the table, discuss in the regional level, and bring new thing back to our city, Cerritos, to improving our city. Because it's really hard to put out the unlimited.
Okay, so do you have any other questions or comments?
That's all. I made my comments. I want a consensus for 4 terms. 4 terms cap, which means 4 terms, 4 years, 16 years.
Okay, so we're not looking for consensus right now. We're looking for motions.
Okay, motion. Should I make a motion for that? Can I make a motion?
Okay, you can make a motion.
Okay, I ask to move to 4-term cap instead. I request consensus to direct the staff to, well, I guess just make motion for 4 terms, each term 4 years.
Okay, I'm going to make a substitute motion.
Okay.
So again,
if I may I request clarification on that really quick?
Okay.
Is that suggestion for a lifetime?
No lifetime. Lifetime's unlimited, right?
A max of 4 terms over a lifetime. So you can't come back after a cooling off period.
I thought there's options there, though. Is it? Because you can run two term off 1 year, and you can come back and run another 2 term. Total 4 terms.
So she is clarifying that it is a 4-term lifetime limit.
Okay, now,
The
now
language
that,
wise,
and then
yeah.
now I'm going to make a substitute motion.
Okay, go ahead.
Now I'm going to make a substitute motion. And I will say one more time, my values and what I want, the values I want to protect for the residents of Cerritos is I want to protect high voter turnout. I want to vote a representative democracy. I want to get our residents to vote. I want them to have options to vote. I want them to be able to vote for the candidates they want to vote for. And if they don't want to vote for that candidate, they'll vote for another candidate. And I also want a separation of powers between the city treasurer and the other charter employees. So my motion, my substitute motion, is to direct city staff to bring back a charter amendment measure to be placed on the June 2, 2026 statewide primary. 1 ballot measure that includes the following charter amendments in the 1 ballot measure. That the Cerritos City Council shall have no term limit. The city treasurer shall be appointed by the city council and not by the city manager. And that the city council election, GMEs, general municipal elections, will be in November of even years, consolidated in November of even years with the state and federal elections, commence starting with November 2026, meaning that the March 27 election will instead be held on November 2026 as a consolidated election. That's my substitute motion.
May I make a friendly amendment to your motion?
Yes, let me hear it.
Yes, I'd like to clarify or add to the motion that the treasurer would be the finance manager, but will be considered as a charter employee. Is that? did I say it right?
Currently, the finance manager
Finance
is
manager is hired by the city manager.
yes. City treasurer is a different position. Currently, the job description
The
is the same,
city
which is why the city
council
manager
can-
appointed the city treasurer.
Can appoint the finance manager to be the city treasurer.
Okay,
So do you still put your friendly amendment on the
I'll take it back.
okay, thanks. So
Mayor?
that's my motion.
Second?
Excuse me,
Okay,
can
we
I,
have a second from
can I make a
we have
suggestion?
a second from Mayor Pro Tem Johnson. Okay, now what would you like to say, Councilman Brown?
Can we separate this into 3 motions,
Well,
one by one,
That's my
instead of
substitute.
combine?
That's my substitute motion. I already made it
All 3 combined together?
in one ballot, one ballot measure. Okay, it was moved by me and seconded by Linda. Let's vote.
The motion passes on a vote of 3-2.
Okay, item 10, legislative items.
No items under 10A or 10B, Mayor.
Item 11A, report from the city manager.
Thank you. I have 2 items, please. The first item is that I am very pleased to report the recent promotion of Samir Patel to the position of Recreation Services Superintendent. Samir has been with the City of Cerritos since 1999. He has held several positions in the Recreation Services Division, including Recreation Coordinator, Supervisor, and Administrator. Samir holds a bachelor's degree in business from Cal State Fullerton, and we're very pleased to have him be promoted to this role. At this time, I'd like to turn the mic over to Samir to say a few words.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. As someone that grew up in Cerritos and someone that served the community for over 25 years, I understand this role and the significance that it has in the community. So I'm looking forward to upholding the division's longstanding reputation to provide excellent recreation opportunities to the Cerritos residents. Also want to mention that I'm looking forward to bringing the council's vision to fruition, whatever that might be, and working with my colleagues here who have been become family over the years. So looking forward to it. Thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, so that was one thing.
Yes, and thank you, Mayor.
You had a second thing?
The second of two items is I'd like to thank all of our staff members for being here so late and for all their hard work in preparing for tonight's agenda. And with that, on behalf of all of our City of Cerritos employees, I'd like to wish the City Council and our community a happy and safe holiday season. We look forward to many more meetings together in the new year with our new Monday meeting schedule with second and fourth Mondays starting in January. Thank you.
I'm looking forward to having Monday night meetings. I heard historically that there was a council member, a Cerritos council member or council members that didn't want city council meetings to be on Monday night because of Monday Night Football. Is that a tall tale, or is there any truth to that a Cerritos City Council member didn't want Monday night meetings because of Monday Night Football? What did you hear?
I've heard the same. I don't know if it's true, but I've heard that.
And now it doesn't matter because there's Monday Night Football and Thursday Night Football. So now it doesn't matter. Okay. So that was report from the city manager. City Council Communications, Jennifer Hong.
Okay, I want to tell about the activities I will postpone to next meeting to report because I have a personal trip. I have to go back to my country, Taipei, Taiwan. That's where I came out from. I moved from Taipei, Taiwan in 1984 to Cerritos. And I have to go back because of my second brother very ill. And I was asking the mayor that if I have the honor to dedicate tonight's meeting in the memory of my second brother. He has a life well lived. My brother, Wang Zhenxing. He was the middle brother of three brothers, and I'm the only and the youngest sister. He is survived by his wife and two daughters and two grandkids. I'm sorry, I could be very emotional. He contracted Parkinson's and succumbed to this disease in a very short time. I was able to visit him last week in Taiwan, and the following second days, he passed away. Anyway, we'll miss him and know he is in a better place. I thank everyone in the city for their support and prayers and the flowers that sent by the city. I really appreciate that. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity to speak. And I also want to wish everybody Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Thank you.
Councilmember Say.
Well, I'll skip my, since it's 2 o'clock already, I'll skip my report. I also want to send my condolence to you and your brother's family. God bless you all.
Oh, thank you. And I forgot, I was too emotional. During this trip, before my brother passed away, I was able to conduct during this trip to get connected with our sister city from Xinbei Shi Banqiao City that we already been the sister city from before. And I was fortunate to have a meeting with them and also express that, to tell them that we are sister cities and hopefully we can have more economic development and also a culture exchange. And I also have a connection, luckily, with Kaohsiung, which is the southern part of Taiwan, and it's the second biggest city in Taiwan. Taipei is the capital. Kaohsiung is the second biggest city. I was honored to be introduced and see all the councilmen there. And they present me with a gift and Chinese teacups, which I already passed over to our city manager. So all my city colleagues or all the employees can take a look at and admire it. I already give it to city manager. So the Kaohsiung city, they are also very interested in become our sister city. So I told them they have to come up with a proposal, and so I can present it to our council to take a look before we make any decisions. That I'm glad I was able to also complete this two visiting during my personal trip at my own expense. Thank you.
Councilmember Polito?
On agenda item 5A, the original memo, it mentioned that Rogan Gerard was going to be recognized for his retirement. And I just asked the mayor if that's going to be presented in January? Yes. Okay. But even still, I just want to take this opportunity because I understand his last day is...
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Do we know his last day?
His last day is this month in December.
Okay. I just want to say, I want to wish Rogan Gerard well in his retirement, his well-deserved retirement. Probably the, I'd say out of all the city employees over the time that I've had the honor to serve on the city council the first time around and then back again this year, I have grown closest to Rogan. And I have a lot of gratitude to that man. And I was really looking forward to expressing my gratitude to him personally tonight. He has worked very hard for this city, but I don't want to read this whole thing. I think there will be an opportunity in the new year to address that, but I didn't want to close out the year without wishing him well in advance of his retirement date. And also I want to take the opportunity to wish everyone a wonderful, joyous, and safe holiday season. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson.
Yes, I'm going to echo Councilmember Polito's remarks regarding Rogan Gerard. He has been a mentor to me even before I was elected to the city council in 2022. So he's kind of like my first friend in the city. And when I got elected, he taught me a lot. And I too am very indebted to him. And I'm going to miss him, and I wish him well on his retirement. And I also want to wish our staff, our employees, everybody, happy holidays.
Okay, next on the agenda is item 12, City Attorney. Will you please announce the closed session items?
Yes, we will be meeting in closed session with respect to items 12A, B, C, and D.
We will now adjourn the regular meeting and the council will recess to closed session.